Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bitter Rivals podcast. This is episode 115. I am your host, Avery Rausch, along with co-host Gitano Gallo. And this episode, as always, is powered by 91N. So thank you to everybody over there for all of their support all the time. Go check them out if you haven't already. Um, so, as probably anybody listening to this would know, this is going to be a tribute episode. We haven't really posted much. I haven't had the energy, but this is a tribute episode to my father, who tragically passed away on January the 2nd. And we haven't done an episode since then, all for obvious reasons. Biggest Leaf fan I ever knew. Loved hockey, put me through hockey, and this one's for him. So I don't know if you have anything to say, Gitano. If you do, go ahead, my friend. If not, we can jump right into some Toronto Maple Leafs stuff.
Just a quick thing of being a Habs fan in Andre's house was always always an interesting spot to be in, but he was the fucking he could have kicked me out of his house a couple times. I definitely saw a couple Habs wins there and celebrated in his face a little bit, but he was just such a great man. Let me have it when I sat there and took fucking Leafs victories against the Habs. So he'll be very, very sorely missed.
A member of the Bitter Rivals family forever. So love you, Dad, and miss you. Anyway, let's get to some Leafs talk. So I think the main thing that I want to talk about is the recent resurgence of Ilya Samsonov. There's obviously a lot to talk about because it's been about a month since we've had an episode, with Christmas even before everything happened and all of that. So, Ilya Samsonov really, really did hit rock bottom. He went all the way to the bottom of the barrel. AHL was put on waivers. Nobody claimed him. That's got to be demoralizing. But since he's come back in 3 games, he's looked like the Ilya Samsonov of old, and even better, maybe. He's just keeping the team in games that they actually shouldn't even be a part of. The first game against the Jets this week, we played 2 last night, and then it was a home and home, and that's the second time in the past month that we've done that with a Western Conference team, and I think it's really, really weird. So we had our 2 games against the Jets, won both of them, and there's nothing better than beating the Jets. Just kidding, because we don't care about the Jets. But anyway, that first game, I would say we don't win unless we have a superstar level goaltender. I'm not saying Ilya Samsonov is a superstar, but for that game, he sure was. That was a 1-0 win in overtime, and boy, did he make some $10, just some absolute show-stopping saves. It's been so nice to see because, like I said, rock bottom, man. He was putting up ECHL level numbers in the NHL, man. It was tough to watch.
He went full Jack Campbell.
Yeah. Oh, did he ever? He went full Jack Campbell, and with no imminent return for Wool here, we really needed somebody to step up. Martin Jones was only going to be a really, really good goaltender, which he was for 4 or 5 games, but you can't expect him to keep that up. He's your third goaltender. You can't expect him to be the number 1. And sustain it. That's just any team that goes from their 1 to their 3 is going to struggle, right? And that's kind of what happened. So we needed Samsonov to come back and begin playing like he has again, and he has, and it's been really, really nice to see, man. And it's hard to talk to you about it because all of your success, the main part of your success was Carey Price, right?
Yeah.
In Montreal for your entire kind of time
lifetime,
watching this
yes.
team. So it's a little bit different because obviously our success is based off of some really, really high powered talent, right? That's kind of at the front end. That's what we have. That's what makes us a good team. The other thing that I think is very, very important to note is Austin Matthews has 40 goals in 46 games, if I'm not mistaken. He's played 46 games, and he's got 40 goals. This guy, it seems like, scores every single game. I know he doesn't. The numbers don't say that. It's not 46 and 46. It's 40 and 46. But Lately, it feels like he just scores every game, and it's really, really something to behold. Especially like, and before the puck even leaves his stick when it's going in. It's
Like
kind of
even
crazy.
the goal last night as they were setting it up on the power play. I didn't say it out loud, but I remember thinking like, if they drop this to Matthews, he's standing on the fucking hash marks. He's ripping this. Like you
And
just
he
know
is.
it's you just know.
He had so much power behind that because he was able to walk into it. And Hellebuck, like, even if he wasn't screened, you don't see that pocket.
No,
You know,
the only way that doesn't go in is if Matthews hits you with it. If he
mhm.
picks a fucking corner, picks anywhere where you're not standing, you're not saving it.
No, and that's exactly what he did, and that's exactly what he's been doing. And it just seems everything he puts on net, like it goes in. It's wild. His shooting percentage, I would guess, right now has to be like 25%. Like it's absurd. I that would be my guess. I have to look it up now. Um, and not to take from any away from any of the other players that have been playing well. Nick Robertson's been playing very well. Got to shout out him. Um, Morgan Riley's had one of his best seasons of his entire career, and on the beginning of a new deal, that's really really nice to see. Instead, because you see a lot of times people sign those big deals, they play out the last year of their old contract, and then by the time they even get to their new contract, they're already declining, and it's
Yep.
like an 8 contract. So I'm very very uh, pleased with how he's kind of taken on a new role, especially with the lack of depth in our decor. Um, it's really really nice to see Morgan Riley step up and not only be a good power play guy and puck mover, but just strong on the back end. Um, and another guy that I have to shout out right now, he had the worst preseason that I've ever seen a defenseman have. I actually like wanted him sent out to Newfoundland to the Growlers when I saw him play in the preseason, but because of injuries, Simon Benoit has gotten the chance to play, and oh my God, he might be our best defensive defense. I think he is. Like right now, he's our best defensive defenseman. Seriously, he's out on the penalty kill. He scored a goal, an empty netter last night, which was so cool because I don't think he's scored yet this year. But man, that kid. First of all, he's feisty. He gets under people's skin. He can destroy you. Like
He's a big boy, eh?
he's a big boy. He always seems to be in the right defensive position, which is not you cannot say that about all of the Toronto Maple Leafs. That and yeah, another guy who's been like that this year is Jake McCabe. Jake McCabe has been very very steady back there. So those have been our two steady D men on the year, and it didn't start that way. They've developed into that role as Jake McCabe and Simon Benoit. It's fantastic to see. So yeah. In other news, Calle Yarncroke, broken knuckle, out 4 to 6 weeks. So Ryan Reeves got back into the lineup last night, scored a goal. Was also fun. Tried to fight like 5 people in that game, so that was fun. Yeah, it's been an up and down month since the last time we talked. I think the beginning of January, the Leafs went on a 3 or 4 game heater, and then they went on like a 4 game skid, and then they've kind of picked it back up again, and they've been playing a little bit better hockey as of late. So it's been a roller coaster as always.
Yeah, when is it not?
Yeah, no, exactly. So let's. I don't have much more to say Leafs wise. Did we ever get a chance to talk about the Nylander contract? I don't believe we did. No, we didn't.
No, we haven't. No.
No, we haven't. So I guess that's important. Nylander signs 8 years. Well, I don't even remember the AAV. What was it? 12-5?
I believe so. Give me 2 seconds to pull it up here, but you can start talking about Willie.
Yeah. So Nylander, up until January, has been the MVP of the Toronto Maple Leafs all year long. I would argue that Austin Matthews has surpassed him in that race, just because Austin Matthews, like I said, it feels like he scores once a game. Hard to compete with that. William Nylander's also tailed off basically since the day he signed his contract. But that happens, you're feeling a little bit more pressure now, and I get it. He'll grow out of it. he's a smart kid and a great hockey player, so I'm sure he'll get out of the funk. I'm not too worried about that. I think it's a great deal, especially considering you got him for the 8 years, and you're hoping that the cap is going to continue to go up, and the percentage against the cap is just going to get lower and lower and lower. So I think that's okay. It's a lot of money, and I know that there's a lot of criticism of this team paying their four guys so much money. What a lot of people forget is John Tavares' contract is coming off the books very soon, and he's told every media outlet that'll ask him that he wants to retire or leave. So I'm sure that means he knows he's going to have to sign a lesser deal to stay with us, because paying him, even 7, 8, 9, I don't think is an option for the Toronto Maple Leafs after this contract expires, right? So that's where I think that goes, is he ends up taking a lesser deal, maybe not the levels that Bergeron took in his last couple of years in Boston there, where he was playing for like league min almost, but I think he'll sign with us after this contract expires somewhere in the 3-4 year, $3-4 million range, and I think that's fair for John Tavares and what he is nowadays. Scored last night, which was nice to see.
He hasn't scored in a while, eh?
He went pointless in 9 games, which was his longest stretch as a league. Before that, he was a point a game all year. That obviously took its toll on his numbers, but it's John Tavares will be okay. And the thing that you can see with John Tavares is that he's still getting the chances. And I know that's a cliche thing to say, but he's still getting the opportunities. He's still generating scoring chances. They just weren't going in for him for a couple of weeks. And that happens, man. It's professional sports. Everybody else is really good too. Is the best way to think. And just going back to his contract with John, I really do believe that his skill set isn't going to deteriorate with age. He's more of a Joe Pavelski type, who kind of, I think a little more skilled than Joe Pavelski if you look at the entirety of their careers, but just kind of a net front presence, doesn't need his wheels.
He never had wheels. He never had them.
Exactly. He's strong on his skates, but not fast, and strong on his stick. And that only gets better as you get older. You develop more old man strength, right? As we know. I just don't think what he relies on to be successful in the league is something that's going to deteriorate as much with age, if that makes sense. Similar to like Stammer, right? Sidney Crosby, same kind of idea. I know that maybe he's not at the level of those guys. Well, I would put him at the same level as maybe Stammer, but you know what I'm saying? Just that kind of.
He's not like a speed demon who like after 35 like won't have that speed and has nothing else. Like,
yeah, and it's not that McDavid doesn't have anything else, but his game is going to have to change as he gets older, because he's not going to be able to maintain that explosiveness that he relies on so much in his game.
Exactly. Whereas a guy like Tavares isn't going to have to change his game as much
because he's not exposed. He never has.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. That's about enough Leafs ranting for today. We'll get back into it over the next few weeks. We'll get back on a routine here and into schedule as we do. So let's get back to some Montreal Canadiens chat.
Yeah, the Habs have been all right. Still keeping it in and around 500 hockey, which is pretty good.
Playing spoiler for a few teams.
Yeah, like the issue with the Habs right now is, you play against like Colorado, Vegas, and I forget who the third team was, and get 5 or 6 points. Edmonton, 5 or 6 points against them, but like can't beat Ottawa, can't beat San Jose. Like it's a little rough like that. But it is what it is. Alex Newhook is back on the ice, not practicing with the team yet, but hopefully he'll be back from his high ankle sprain soon. That should help out up front. Other than that, we still have 3 goalies. A deal hasn't been made for one of them yet. I do expect that at some point, though, before the deadline. And not. I don't want to say not a lot's changed in Montreal, but like in terms of where the season was going before, we took this little break, and now it really hasn't changed much.
Yeah, a couple of things. First thing I wanted to say is I kind of see where you're coming from, because even just watching the national media that covers Canadian hockey teams, it's like the Montreal Canadiens never get talked about anymore, and it's because they're in that state where if you look around the league, excluding maybe Ottawa, the rest of the teams in Canada are relatively competitive at least. Like Vancouver's a juggernaut. Winnipeg's actually been really good. Toronto's been really good. Ottawa's a dumpster fire. Calgary's been okay. They're still clawing in for a playoff spot, and Edmonton's on a 15-game winning streak. So. Yeah, it seems as if the Montreal Canadiens have been kind of swept under the rug. Because even if you want to talk about negative teams, the Ottawa Senators, it's so much more fun to make fun of them. And because they think that they should be so much better, whereas Montreal's never claimed to be better. So
no, like that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's watching what's going on in Ottawa and they've had a coaching change since the last time we've talked. Like
Daniel Alfred's behind the bench, man.
Pardon?
Daniel Alfredson's behind the bench too, like.
Yes, yeah, no, it's and that's what's like. My understanding is a big part of what's turned around Edmonton, dude, is Paul Coffey teaching those defensemen how to play fucking hockey. Like seriously.
Yeah.
So, maybe that's a strategy. Maybe you see more of that. Maybe next thing you know, Killer will be the forwards coach in Toronto. Doug Gilmour. Could you imagine? That would be electric. That would be.
I feel like you guys need to bring back like Thomas Caberlet, maybe?
No, Wendell Clark.
Well, no, so someone to teach your defenseman how to play defense.
Aki Bird. Freaking, yeah, Thomas Caberlet, that would be a good one. Brian McCabe.
Yeah.
Brian McCabe, legend. But, yeah, no, and the second thing that I just wanted to say is, did you really think I was going to let you get away without talking about Gallagher's dirty play?
No, I did not at all. I was assuming that was coming a little later.
Well, we're talking about the Habs right now. Oh, look, somebody's up. Back down. If you're watching on video, my dog or you're not watching on video, sorry, my dog just woke up and then fell back asleep. Anyway, yeah, Brendan Gallagher, who I admittedly isn't a repeat offender by definition in the National Hockey League, has always just been a generally scummy player. But, yeah, one of the dirtiest headshots that I've seen in a few years, honestly.
It was not ever. Not great.
There's been worse headshots, but I think for the most part, those have been kind of taken out of the National Hockey League. That was devastating, first of all, and fucking brutal. Like, oh my god, that was one of the worst headshots. Just so blatant.
Yeah, like
if
you're gonna throw a fucking headshot at somebody, like at least try and like disguise it. Like, you can like make some sort of defense for yourself. You can't just fucking like chicken wing elbow a guy right in the fucking dome and expect to get away with it.
Yeah, like that was crazy, dude. And I know he's not a player that does that often, but like,
oh, it's not a thing. Not that he doesn't do it often. In like his career, he's never, I don't think, ever been suspended for a dirty hit.
Yeah,
and like never like.
I don't know what
the way I explain it to you is like, he's never been a dirty player. He's been a rat. He's been scummy, but he's never been like dirty. So this is like a first.
Yeah. No, I understand that. My question
still inexcusable though.
Yeah, what do you think was going through this guy's head?
Nothing.
Like
no, we weren't even losing. We were winning.
Was there some sort of scuffle that led up to that?
No. And that's why when I told you that, so on the first, like as it happened live, just the way the broadcast camera looked, I thought it was just that they collided accidentally. Neither guy was paying attention. One of those ones. Like I said to you, the Islanders players didn't really react like he had thrown a super dirty hit. Like they didn't try and fucking murder him immediately. It was kind of a slow burn on that. So I thought, like they just collided and Pelech got the worst of it. And then as soon as they showed the replay, I was like, oh, fuck. Like that's just so bad.
It's brutal. Like that was, like you're gonna kill somebody, man.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea. Like the Habs are up in that game. I really don't know what was going through his head, but he got 5 games for it, which I'm like more than okay with. I think that's a totally fair. Like as a Habs fan, you don't want to see him suspended, but like Jesus Christ, you have to be suspended at least 5 for that.
Like at least, like I think a lot of people were very, very surprised that he was offered a phone hearing as opposed to an in-person hearing because that meant that he couldn't get suspended for more than 5 games.
Yeah.
And like, for me, you got to at least talk to the guy, like
in-person hearing, but you can still give him 5.
Exactly, like you know what I mean, like let him plead his case. He's not a repeat offender, but like for me, that's and I know this is playing ticky tacky here, but like I would have preferred more like 7 or 8, because like I said, I haven't seen that in a few years. I thought it was something that was kind of wasn't going to happen anymore. Like obviously it's going to happen every once in a while, but when it does, you gotta fucking punish it so that it doesn't happen. Like and for me, 8 games would have been a really big statement, and I'm sure the NHLPA would have fought it, but still, like
Yeah, no,
man,
I definitely, if he had got 7 or 8, like the only, like if he would have got like 10 plus, I would have been like, ooh, like that's maybe a little.
yeah,
But even then, like,
yeah,
like it wasn't a fuck. Like there's no like defendable fucking points in any of the fucking hit. Like there's nothing.
no.
But yeah,
And I'm glad as a Habs fan you recognize that. And like I'm not saying that he's a dirty player. I'm saying he's a scumbag. He always has been. He's been a rat bastard on the ice. But like, wow, yeah, no, that was crazy. And another thing, now that we're on the topic of, we always kind of say Department of Player Safety officiating goes hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
How about that no goal last night? You weren't at my house yet, but did you see it?
I've seen the clip, and like, you want to know, it kills me. It reminded me a lot. This was the COVID season. I think the first season bit of Rivals when we were playing the Senators, and Gallagher like bumped Matt Murray about like 10, 15 seconds like pass, and then the Habs score, and they called it back for goalie interference. It's like, no, like he got up, he got set, tracked the puck, and a point shot beat him. Like how like what is this delay on goalie interference? Like if you talk to goalie and 4 minutes later you score, you're gonna fucking call it back. I know it wasn't like as exaggerated as that last night, but like still, like he like got up and got set and just didn't make a save.
Well, and not to mention William Nylander didn't hit him like with his own force. Like he was cross-checked into Hellebuck.
Yeah. Just makes like no sense.
Yeah,
And that's why like
I don't know.
Anytime there's goalie interference, like I like to think that I know what I'm talking about, but as soon as it goes to goalie interference, I'm like, I think I'm like this looks like it should be a good goal or shouldn't be, and then they fucking call the opposite. So like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, the standard just makes there is no standard. I think is the problem, right? Like it's not that it doesn't make any sense; it's that it doesn't exist. Yeah, there's no standard for no goal. Like what constitutes goaltender interference? If there's a delay between how long the goal interference and the goal going in actually happens, if the goalie has a chance to get set, like there's no standard. It's really they do have to work on that. That's something that they need to reel in because it's especially like can you imagine being somebody who's trying to watch the sport for the first time? Like this is your first season ever watching hockey, and you watch the Edmonton goal that counted about a week ago. And then
you see that one last night that doesn't. Yeah.
Like it's just I wouldn't watch the sport anymore if I saw that.
Yeah, because it's just like, and we've joked about this. Like we know what we're talking about. We've grown up playing and watching hockey like for 27 and 25 years respectively.
True.
Like, and we don't even know what the fuck's going on. I can't imagine someone who's never watched the sport trying to tune into that and be like, they're never going to figure that out.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's hard to stay interested when you have no idea what's going on. Like I think that's a pretty simple concept. Anything else from across the league that we should be mentioning here? We've got our Leafs and our Habs coverage taken care of. We got All Star Weekend coming up. But I believe
I do want to mention the Islanders coaching change.
Yeah. Yes.
Because Patrick Roy is coaching the New York Islanders, and they've kind of looked okay.
Yeah.
It's only been a couple games, but like they definitely. I don't know if it's just like that new coach boost, but like they look a little like they got a little more energy in them than they had in the previous few weeks.
Well, that's good to see.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, do you want to talk Hockey Canada, or do you want to maybe wait and save that for after kind of shit
Let's
hits the
let's get
fan?
yeah, let's get a little more concrete evidence before we start
Okay.
talking about it because I don't want to say something that isn't correct.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I think the London Police Service have a press conference scheduled on February 5th, so we'll talk about that on the following episode
Yeah,
from that.
so we'll probably have a chat about that on the 11th.
Yeah.
We have we will have an episode on the 3rd, which is the same day as the All Star Game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what it looks like moving forward for us. Do you want to chat a little All Star Game?
Yeah, we can chat a little All Star Game.
Okay, so All Star Game is being held at the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto. I do believe that the All Star Skills competition has actually been kind of like semi-designed with Connor McDavid's input as probably the most skilled player in the league. That is no surprise, and I'm kind of looking forward to what he put together. Um, yeah, in terms of, so do we have players in the All Star game yet?
Yes,
Or,
we have a full roster.
okay, let's go take a look. There, I got it right here, January 25th. Okay,
Are you on the NHL website one?
yes.
Perfect.
So for Toronto Maple Leafs, there are four of them, as this is held in Toronto. They usually get an extra one, and these four players probably all deserve to be in the All Star game this year. Number one, Mitch Marner, his third All Star game. Number two, Austin Matthews, his fifth. Number three, William Nylander, his first All Star game, and joining William in attending their first All Star game is Morgan Riley, who
Super
definitely
well
deserves to
deserved.
be this year.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely deserves to be there this year. Over Mitch Marner, I would say, honestly. That if we only got three, those would be my three: Matthews, Nylander, Riley, for sure.
Yeah.
So, what do the Montreal Canadiens have in the All Star game?
So Captain Nick Suzuki is at his third All Star game, which I love for him.
There's only one.
Yeah, only the one.
Caulfield's not there.
So the way it works, so every team gets one, and then the rest are like voted in by the fans. So in the Atlantic, I forget who got in from like the Atlantic, but it was not a Hab.
Georgiev is in the All Star game. Cam
Okay.
Talbot.
Okay. So it was one of the Boston guys. Either Pastor or Swayman got voted in, and then was there
I would
more? And
imagine
then one of the Leafs.
one of the Leafs got voted in as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do like the fact that we're doing a draft for the All Star game.
Yeah.
That's going to be super super fun.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's talk about what those drafting teams look like. So the first team is Austin Matthews as captain, Morgan Riley as his assistant captain, and Justin Bieber as the celebrity captain for that team. So that'll be interesting. Team McJeezy over here, Connor McDavid. He will be captain, and then Draisaitl will be the assistant, and Will Arnett, noted Leafs fan, will be his celebrity captain. Team Hughes will be co-captained by Jack and Quinn Hughes, and
I love that so much.
their celebrity captain is Michael Bublé.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's actually fucking sick.
Team McKinnon will be led by Colorado Avalanche center Nathan McKinnon. His assistant will be Kel McCarr. And the celebrity all-star, making her first All-Star game appearance, one more than her ex-boyfriend Cole Sillinger, Tate McRae.
I don't know who she is, but that was fucking good.
That was pretty funny. Yeah, so that'll be a fun one. There will be the draft on Thursday. There will be an honoring of the 1967 Maple Leafs, which is extremely embarrassing. Extremely embarrassing. And also a PWHL 3-on-3 showcase.
Oh,
And
that's
that will
also
be
going to be
taking
huge.
place
That's
on Thursday. Yeah. Yeah. This is going to be a really, really fun weekend, actually. I'm looking forward.
I really do think so.
I'm looking big forward to it. I'm enjoying the fact that it's going to be in Toronto as well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're doing any specialized events or anything for the All Star Game for Toronto. Maybe they are. I don't know what they would be.
Not that I've seen, no, but
yeah. Anyway, so that's pretty much all that there is outside the NHL, other than or outside of the Leafs and Habs. Sorry, around the NHL, other than the happenings with the Hockey Canada lawsuit and all of those dealings, which we will talk about when there is more concrete and information available, because that's what we should do. Anyway, anything else that you need to get off your chest, Gitano Gallo?
no, I think the floor is yours here to close it out.
All right. Once again, we're glad to be back. It's been a tough month for me and my sibling and my entire family, and Gitano, who was close with my dad as well, and also lost a niece. Gitano lost his niece, his puppy niece, B. So shout out B as well on this episode. And yeah, we will. We'll never stop thinking about you, man. And we love you. And I know you're probably not listening to this, but I love you, man. And that's all I got. Peace out.